Hello, it's Max McAllister from Traction Dynamics here. Another little video. I wanted to talk to you about actually about just suspension upgrades in general. And what prompted it was a letter we got from one of our customers whose bike we upgraded a week or so ago. The bike we did for this customer was a 2014 Honda Goldwing. We've been doing Goldwing chassis upgrades on the previous edition Goldwing since 2006 or so. I think we started prototyping and stuff in 2005. But one of the biggest battles we have is a whole cadre of people that think that suspension is only for racers, first of all, or that if you're not going to ride down twisty roads really fast on your any bottle of bike, never mind Goldwing, that suspension upgrades will be of no benefit to you. But so this customer's letter had really hit home on a lot of points, but I wanted to read it and then I'll kind of elaborate a little bit on it. But so he says, good morning, and he talks about our facility and the staff, and that's nice. Says nice things about us. But in the main text here it says, my trip home was approximately 400 miles and it gave me the opportunity to really experience your product. The first, I must say, is in riding almost 40,000 miles on my Goldwing. It was the first time I experienced absolutely no fatigue. I realized that I no longer had any upper body aches, and I can only assume that that is due to having less vibration and transfer of energy to my body from the suspension on the bike. That alone made a huge difference in my ride. The next thing that was very noticeable was cruising at highway speeds. While being passed by large trucks or passing them, my bike remained extremely stable. As I was riding back, I thought to myself, the roads going home were in much better condition than what I experienced on the way out of town. It's obvious the suspension upgrade had made a huge improvement on how the bike handled the road conditions. The ripples in the road, as well as the bumps, were being handled much more efficiently than the original suspension. And finally, another huge improvement was the way the bike was able to take sweeping curves at highway speed, giving me better control. I'm heading out west next month and looking forward to experiencing the vast varieties of back roads and mountain riding. All in all, this upgrade, in my opinion, was well worth the investment, as I plan on running my Goldwing well beyond 200,000 miles. I highly recommend anyone who puts serious mileage on their Goldwing to upgrade their suspension. Thanks again for a fine product, a great purchasing experience. Mr. Mark N. from Stokesdale, North Carolina. So that's one of the biggest myths we battle, is that suspension is for racers or suspension is only for people that blast down twisty roads. And that is absolutely not true at all. So in the case of just riding your Goldwing or other bike straight in a line down the freeway, having properly functioning suspension can stabilize and calm the bike. And where the fatigue comes from, people just assume, well, it's really hard because I rode my bike for 8 hours today. But a lot of fatigue comes from the bike moving around on you while you're just generally driving it. But and let's talk about freeways specifically. He mentions the big one, which is moving around vehicles or vehicles moving around you, wind moving and buffeting your motorcycle. So when your bike moves while you're doing it, inherently, whether you want to or not, you tend to tighten your grip on the handlebars. You tend to tighten the core of your body and pinch your legs on the bike. And so, you know, subconsciously, 1,000 times a day, you're gripping and tightening and clenching whenever your bike's going to move. Another one is lane seams, tar snakes on the road. Anytime you cross a lane seam, your bike will do that for a moment. And you get to know that it's going to do that, but not consciously, but subconsciously you grip your bike every time one of these circumstances happens. So if your bike will just ride straight, true, and stable and be calm, your grip's relaxed, your body's relaxed, your ride is more enjoyable, and you'll have a higher level of comfort and confidence. So that's reflected 8 hours later in the end of the day when you arrive at your destination or your hotel for the night, and you park your motorcycle, and instead of going in the hotel room and collapsing and dying, you're able to take your baggage in and feel good, go out to dinner or enjoy some activities in whatever town you're staying in without being wiped out. And then importantly again is being able to get up the next morning and continue your trip or your adventure or your journey without being sore and in discomfort before you even sit down on the bike the next morning and start your ride again. So and another thing that actually a good topic to touch on is people, your tires are an integral part of the suspension of your motorcycle, and people end up putting really high tire pressures in their bikes as some sort of preventative method somebody figured out to help stop the tires from cupping. And when your tires cup, it's basically a sign that the dampers on the bike are not controlling the wheel. So instead of the wheel just rolling on the road, the wheel is ringing on the, I call it ringing, it's just vibrating on the road. Now, it's not something you see your handlebars like this, but it's still going on nonetheless. So whenever your front wheel and your front suspension is just ringing without control, your tire is inherently doing this, and it causes irregular wear patterns in the tire. When you pump your tires up rock hard, which has been a cure for people that don't want to do anything to repair or upgrade or retune their suspension on their motorcycles, you dramatically compromise the ride quality of the motorcycle. First of all, it will become harsh over all small, sharp bumps, little square edge bumps, anything, abrupt will be harsh. You'll feel that all day long and every mile you ride the bike. And the next thing is traction is dramatically reduced because you've made the tire hard. The contact patch becomes smaller and the tire has less ability to grip the ground. And so you're far better off to have your suspension set up, tuned, and working properly. Then you can run lower tire pressures so that you're able to have a more compliant ride and have a much higher degree of safety, particularly in that hopefully less than once in a lifetime event where you have to make an emergency stop. That's where again, properly tuned suspension will make a big difference. So don't have to go down a twisty road. Just riding in a straight line, you'll be able to benefit from a suspension upgrade, and I wanted to redo that. So that's one of my updates for today. I'll try and get some more stuff together. People have been asking for videos on the preceding generation Goldwing we've been working with, and I'm going to start doing some of those and posting some of those up and giving you some of the insight on what we do to upgrade the 2001 to 2017 Honda Goldwing. And eventually I'll get to a whole bunch of other motorcycles as well. So thanks.